So file this under the heading, if you can't beat them, join them. Europe's Christine Lagarde says that she thinks there could be a digital euro in two, maybe 4 years. And by the way, the Fed's Jay Powell was also on that call. But one of the biggest allures, of course, of crypto is the lack of government oversight. So where do digital and fiat currencies go from here? I want to bring in MicroStrategies Inc. Chairman and CEO Michael Saylor. Michael, it really is amazing that you were obviously you've been ahead of the curve, but when you start to hear central bankers talk about digital currency, maybe creating their own digital currency, you hear about countries like China, does it make you feel flattered and embolden you, or does it make you worried because they're going to have to do something to trip Bitcoin and other cryptos up?
I think it's the logical next step on the institutionalization of Bitcoin and digital currency in general. I think this year, 2021, Bitcoin is emerging as the newest institutional safe haven asset. It's digital gold, and it's logical that every bank and everybody that's watching this space is going to start to think about how they integrate with it.
Now, it's one thing to integrate with it. It's another thing also to have it as a hedge per se. But, you know, Bitcoin enthusiasts, I think like yourself, think ultimately this is a sort of, this could actually be a world reserve currency of sorts. So will everyone just sort of stand by and allow that to happen?
Well, I actually think that every investor in the world, on the top of their mind, they're thinking about asset inflation. And they're all looking for a safe haven store of value. You know, if God had designed a new form of gold in cyberspace, he would have designed Bitcoin. So the investors, the macro investors, they're rotating out of gold into Bitcoin, and it's just a natural flow. Investors are going to allocate their capital to the asset that they think is going to hold value the best in the emerging monetary environment. And right now, they're voting with their dollars, and they're voting for Bitcoin.
So, Michael, of course, again, and as I mentioned before, you've been changing the world of business. A lot of corporations, publicly traded companies, particularly watching what you're doing. You've got so much Bitcoin on your company's balance sheet at MicroStrategy. So it's become a de facto Bitcoin play. I mean, the stock is up 52% this year, up 300% in the last 52 weeks. So what are the pros and what are the cons about going this route?
You know, we were leaders and pioneers in adopting Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset on our balance sheet. I think that lots and lots of corporate finance execs are beginning to notice the monetary inflation. They're beginning to worry, and they're beginning to realize that cash on a balance sheet is a liability. It's not an asset. Bitcoin is an asset. If you're holding cash for the next 10 years at a 15% monetary expansion rate, you're going to lose 75% of the value of the cash. And so for companies that want to preserve shareholder value or create shareholder value, I think we're going to increasingly see they're going to rotate their cash into Bitcoin so they convert a liability into an asset for their shareholders.